The land of Denmark, a great land, ruled by kings with courage and greatness and princes with heroic campaigns. There was Shield Chieftain, scourge of many tribes, a wrecker of mead benches, rampaging among foes. There was his famous son, Beo, whose name was known through the north, giving freely while his father lives, so afterwards, in age when fighting starts, steadfast companions will stand by him. And then his heir, the great Halfdane, held sway for as long as he lived, their elder and warlord. Last in this great line was Hrothgar, son of Halfdane. Friends and kinsmen flocked to his ranks, a force that grew to be a mighty army. It was he who built the Hall of all halls, Heorot. It was he who would fall prey to the greatest evil. Grendel was the name of this grim demon, a fiend out of hell, working his evil into the world. He was one of Cain's clan, cursed by God, wreaking havoc in Heorot, killing and raiding the mighty hall. Powerless against his might, the Danes fell. So for 12 winters Grendel ruled in defiance of right, one against all, until the greatest house in the world stood empty. But news of the Danes' misfortunes travel until one of the thanes of Geatland hears of his neighbor's troubles. He is a man with strength unparalleled by any other, a hero who has the holy power of God on his side. His name? Beowulf. Welcome to an exclusive behind-the-scenes interview with the cast of the Beowulf movie. Today, we will be interviewing the 3 main antagonists of the film about the archetypes, themes, and qualities of an epic hero found in the poem. First, I'll be interviewing Joanna Young, who plays the dragon in the movie. Joanna, can you give us some insights on the themes that weren't conveyed in our trailer?
Definitely. Loyalty, first of all, is one of the central themes in Beowulf. The first example we see of this is Beowulf's choice to help the Danes rid of Grendel. Beowulf was surely motivated to help for many reasons, but it is revealed that years before, Beowulf's father had started a feud with another tribe, and Hrothgar had to settle the dispute by paying money. As Hrothgar says on page 33 in Beowulf, "There was a feud one time begun by your father. With his own hands he had killed Hitholath, who was a wolf-fiend. So war was looming, and his people, in fear of it, forced him to leave. He came away then over rolling waves to the South Danes here, the sons of honor. I was then in the first flush of kingship, establishing my sway over all the rich strongholds of all this heroic land. Hrothgar, my older brother and the better man, also a son of Halfdanes, had died. Finally, I healed the feud by paying. I shipped a treasure trove to the Wolfings, and Ecgtheow acknowledged me with oaths of allegiance." This debt that Beowulf owes to Hrothgar is a likely motivator for his willingness to fight Grendel. After the fight with Grendel and Grendel's mother, we see more loyalty in the poem as he continues his loyalty to his king Hygelac, until Hygelac dies in a battle, as we see on page 149 to 151. A lot was to happen in later days in the fury of battle. Hygelac fell, and the shelter of Heardred's shield proved useless against the fierce aggression of the Sheaflings. Ruthless swordsmen and seasoned campaigners, they came against him and his conquering nation with a cruel force to cut him down, so that afterwards the wide kingdom reverted to Beowulf. Hygelac's death gives Beowulf the opportunity to take the throne, but he instead chooses to follow Heardred, Hygelac's son, to be king, until he too falls in battle. This clearly depicts Beowulf's strong loyalty towards Hygelac and his heir. Lastly, Wiglaf conveys the theme of loyalty in Beowulf. Before his fight of the dragon, Beowulf gathers 11 of his best men to help him fight. This is all due to his pride, as he is too proud of himself to assemble a large army. Once they approach the cave, all the men run away in fear except for one person. That is Wiglaf. Wiglaf bravely assists Beowulf in his fight with the dragon, although at the end of the battle, both Beowulf and the dragon are fatally injured. It is at this point that Beowulf decides to pass the kingdom on to Wiglaf. Before his death, he says on page 189, "You are the last of us, the only one left of the Wegmundings. Fate swept us away and sent my whole brave, high-born clan to their final doom. Now I must follow them." That was the warrior's last word. Because of Beowulf's and Wiglaf's action, it is clear that loyalty is crucial in recurring theme throughout the book. But in addition to loyalty being a crucial element of Beowulf, we have the theme, one of the most other prominent themes, brightness versus murkiness. As this was not explored in our trailer, I would like to summarize when this is most prominent. This theme is the most prominent during Beowulf's underwater fight with Grendel's mother, and can be summed up with a quote from when Beowulf's sword fails him. On page 105, the hero observed that swamp thing from hell, the Tarn hag in all her terrible strength, then heaved his war sword and swung his arm. The decorated blade came down ringing and singing on her head. But he soon found his battle torch extinguished. The shining blade refused to bite. It spared her and failed the man in need. It had gone through many hand-to-hand fights, had hewed the armor and helmets of the doomed, but here, at last, the fabulous powers of that heirloom failed. And that is all I have to say about the major themes that are conveyed throughout Beowulf.
Thanks, Joanna. Now, I would like to talk about archetypes with Emma Castle, who played Grendel's mother. Emma, can you discuss a couple archetypes that you saw in the poem?
I can. In my opinion, Beowulf, one of the earliest recorded stories, set a foundation for all literature that followed it, and therefore contains countless archetypes. The archetypes that stood out the most to me were the hero, the creature nightmare, and the quest. Firstly, I'll talk about the hero. The character who portrays the hero restores justice and harmony to the community, which is exactly what Beowulf does through his battles with Grendel, Grendel's mother, and the dragon. The author, Seamus Heaney, introduces Beowulf as an archetypal hero by writing, "There was no one else like him alive. In his day, he was the mightiest man on earth, high-born and powerful." Beowulf proceeds to fight and defeat Grendel and becomes a hero in the eyes of his followers. The hero is a central character in almost all stories, but I feel like The Hunger Games represents this archetype particularly well. In the book, Katniss Everdeen is forced to leave her home and participate in the Hunger Games. Through her heroic acts, she manages to survive, and when she gets home, she restores faith to District 12. The creature nightmare is also a prevalent archetype in this epic, and one can argue that all of Beowulf's foes represent this archetype. Grendel, as a direct spawn of Satan and reject of God, embodies this archetype the most. The author's original description of Grendel is, "So times were pleasant for the people there until one, a fiend out of hell, began to work his evil in the world." Grendel was the name of this grim demon. He had dwelt for a time in misery among the banished monsters, Cain's clan, whom the Creator had outlawed and condemned as outcasts. Here he reinforces Grendel's monstrous, malignant nature, and his role as a creature of nightmare in Beowulf is confirmed. In Harry Potter, we also see these archetypes depicted by the werewolf, aka Professor Lupin. Both Grendel and the werewolf come out at night and try to inflict harm on the hero. The quest is an archetype frequently depicted through Beowulf's mission to fight Grendel's mother. He narrates, "So the noble prince proceeded undismayed up fells and screes along noble footpaths and ways where they were forced into single file, ledges on cliffs above layers of mountain monsters. After defeating the beast, he returns to Heorot safely and is rewarded with gifts of gratitude, signifying his completion of the quest." For a modern-day example, in To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus makes it his quest to defend Tom Robinson fairly and not let the rest of society affect his actions because of their contrasting beliefs. Although Beowulf undergoes a physical quest and Atticus does not, both of their actions represent the quest archetype.
Thanks, Emma Castle. Lastly, I would like to discuss the qualities of the epic poem and the epic hero with Maggie Gill, who played Grendel and Wiglaf.
First, I'll define an epic poem. An epic poem is an extended narrative poem, exalted in style and heroic in theme. Beowulf, being an epic poem, tends to fit all qualities of an epic poem. It really fits the mold very well. One quality of an epic poem is that it's about a serious or worthy traditional subject, and this would be Beowulf. He is a man of power, and therefore he is very worthy. Also in epic poems, the action contains superhuman feats of strength or military power. And you can see this whenever Beowulf is fighting me, Grendel, or the dragon, or Grendel's mother, in the way that he is against all odds fighting this huge beast. An epic poem also surrounds a man of stature and significance, and this can be seen through Beowulf, as he is a man of royalty. After he returns to Geatland, he does become king. Also in an epic poem, the success or failure of the hero will determine the fate of the nation. For example, in the movie/book, if Beowulf did not succeed at killing Grendel or Grendel's mother, then some seriously bad things could have happened and they might have had to abandon Heorot. Also, if he hadn't killed the dragon, it would have taken over Geatland. In epic poems, gods also participate in battles, and this can be seen when Beowulf explains that whoever wins will be who God wants to win, so he's not worried about winning or losing because he's leaving his fate up to God. Particularly in the fight with Grendel's mother, Beowulf attributes his success to God. And as for the epic hero, Beowulf is a very good example of an epic hero. He fits almost every single quality that is shown through most epic heroes. The first characteristic of an epic hero is that the epic hero has larger-than-life qualities. For example, when Beowulf walks off the ship and onto the shores of Denmark, the Coast Guard explains that he has never seen a man of higher stature and strength just from taking one look at him. If he did not have larger-than-life qualities, then the Coast Guard would not be able to just tell this with one little look. Another characteristic that Beowulf meets is that he is a natural leader of others. People tend to just trust Beowulf. They kind of just see a leader in him and are willing to trust him with their lives. The next characteristic of an epic hero that Beowulf meets is that he is not emotionally connected to his followers. Throughout the poem, we don't see any evidence that he is really emotionally attached to any of the people who follow him. He sort of just does what he's supposed to do and doesn't really take into account their emotions, just does what's best for all of them. However, it is evident that he does care, as he is willing to die for them. Another quality is that Beowulf has good on his side. Throughout all the battles, you can see that he puts his fate into God's hands, and God tends to bring him out on the top, and every time he wins is because of God, as he says in the poem. Epic heroes also defeat lots of monsters, and of course we can see this through Beowulf, as he does defeat 3 monsters throughout the poem. Another quality of an epic hero is that they stand alone in battle. Of course we can see this through Beowulf, as when he goes to fight the dragon, even though he is wary of his fate in the battle and thinks that he may die, he does not want to bring anyone with him, and if he had, he might still be alive by the end of the poem. He also fights me, Grendel, alone out of respect, because Grendel does not have the ability to use weapons, and he does not think that he should have a higher chance than Grendel does to win. Another quality is that epic heroes often travel to find adventure. Beowulf first travels to Denmark from Geatland to kill Grendel when he hears that there is an opportunity to kill a monster. Lastly, Beowulf is a very skilled fighter, and this is a trait that is often seen in epic heroes. Of course he's a skilled fighter, because he would not be able to kill all 3 monsters if he was not as skilled as he is. In conclusion, Beowulf is an excellent example of both an epic poem and an epic hero.
Thank you for tuning in on this exclusive interview with the cast of Beowulf.
And don't forget to come watch Beowulf the movie in theaters on April 1st.
Yay, Grendel!
That's not how it's supposed to end!
Roar!
Like, leap off of the rock and come attack me. Ready, set, go.
I was like, this is I like it.
This is the fight scene. Beowulf versus Grendel.